Welcome, everyone, to Ashley Price's swearing in as a commissioner of the Los Angeles Superior Court, and I'm thrilled and honored to preside over this wonderful event. And I'm so glad that she followed the encouragement of those who saw what I think she knew she had, which is the capacity to be a wonderful judicial officer. So it's lovely to have that she's able to do this in this intimate setting in our courthouse, but with husband and kids and parents and sister here, and judges who admire her also. Some of them, we all admire you very much. But I would say that it is wonderful not only for you but for us, for the court, and for the community, for the people of Los Angeles, to have you as one of our bench officers. And the reason why is this. What makes a great bench officer is two elements. One is the person needs to be a good lawyer, but secondly, and even more importantly, a good person. And Ashley is a terrific lawyer and a terrific person. She's uncommonly compassionate and kind and thoughtful. I rarely have met a person with such a depth of feeling for her clients and thoughtful, just a thoughtful approach to every human she encounters, everyone. She's just wonderful in that way. But not only does she have this great humane capacity, but her choice of law was a wonderful choice because she's enormously gifted in this way. She's her gift as a lawyer is, first of all, I think that comes from the great temperament that Ashley has. She is in some of the most difficult situations. I've observed her with the most difficult people, clients who are angry or upset, and a lot of them are mentally ill, and whatever the situation is. And often this is in an adversarial setting where not only is her client experiencing some emotional pain and perhaps acting out, but she's in an adversarial setting where her opponent also may be advocating, fighting against her also. So to navigate that and maintain this equanimity, this idea that she's so patient and balanced in this environment is the first wonderful quality. But the second is just the insight she has into how to make this work, to have an outcome that is just. So she's able to translate whatever it is that her client needs. She sees the legitimate interests of her client and presents them in a way that makes the judge feel that those interests are paramount. And she does this so effectively because she's got balance. She's got this understanding of what the prosecutor is looking for also. She understands the prosecutor's role. She understands the prosecutor's objectives. Meanwhile, she's also aware of the decision maker. She's aware of the judge's paradigm, and how the judge is going to balance these ideas. And she's supremely effective in optimizing the outcome. Doesn't mean she always wins, but she gets the best outcome for her client. Even if it seems like it's not a victory, it would have been so much worse had she not mitigated the situation, because she brought forward the facts that were helpful to her client. And she knows what those facts are because she's supremely organized. Really wonderfully organized. And because you're organized, you're able to use your rhetorical skills. You're able to bring them to the fore because you've identified those issues and those places where your persuasion will make a difference. And then you're able to use the right words always to bring to consciousness what the right thing is, what the right result is. And so that happens I saw that in a trial court. I actually tried 2 jury trials that I recall, and in each case, and one in particular, her knowledge of law, her preparation is so wonderful. There was a case that looked very bad for her client on paper, but she realized that a lot of evidence against her client was hearsay evidence they're in documents. And her client had the right to confront and cross-examine the witnesses whose statements were in the documents. She was able to use the law of evidence, the Sanchez case, which her opponent was just not aware of it, didn't understand how this new law applied to protect her client's rights. She was able to use that to show that when you consider the evidence that was actually admissible against her client, there was a reasonable doubt that the charge was true, and a very serious charge, and she won that case, a tremendous result. But it's not just in these adversarial situations, but we got to work together in the ODR court, the Office of Diversion and Reentry court, which is a collaborative court. To some extent, it's collaborative. So both sides are working together to see who are the right persons to get housing and the mental health help that they need to overcome homelessness, to overcome addictions, to overcome the mental health barriers in their way in order to live healthy and productive lives and benefit all of our community, because they're not involved in, don't need to turn to crime. The elements of their experience that have led them to criminality are mitigated by this program. So it makes sense to move from the pure adversarial advocacy into this collaborative world that you have navigated so beautifully, where you're working together to try to produce a good result for the individual and for the community. And it's a logical next step to be a bench officer, where you keep the entire community's interests in mind, where you directly affect protecting the rights of everyone in the courtroom, but also being mindful of the community and how it can improve. And I can't think of a better person than Ashley Price to have that role. I'm so glad that you're now going to be among us and making those decisions, because every person who comes in your courtroom will benefit, and you'll be very proud of her. We'll all be so proud of her for what she will do, a logical extension of what she has done. So I congratulate you, and I want to turn this over to Judge Bernstein.
There's a couple of cases that I remember with Ashley, and I remember one where her mother was there in my courtroom when I met her mother, and I don't know if you had already started on your papers at that time. I don't think she had. And I was telling her mother what I thought of Ashley and how she'd make a great bench officer. And it was because I know her to be such a straight shooter. I could trust every word out of her mouth. She wasn't trying to deceive anyone. And she always put forth the facts the way they really were, obviously to the benefit of her client if she could. But she never tried to hide anything that should not have been hidden. And I always felt that I could trust her, always. And I can't say that about every attorney, no matter what side they're on. And I remember telling her mother what I thought of her and how she'd be such a good bench officer. And I think she went home and had a little talk with Ashley after that. And then Ashley started on her papers to become a bench officer. And I was so excited when I heard that. And I saw her do a really tough trial where her client had no conception of how good and his attorney was and what she was doing on his behalf. And it was hard to watch because he did not treat her very well, and that's the Trader Joe's case that I'm thinking of. And then I also saw Ashley work so hard on a defendant who did not really want any help and was charged with the most serious life case, and wanted to represent himself and went back and forth, and I kept telling him he had the best representation possible. And Ashley was there every minute for him to help him proceed with his own trial. I, like Judge Wyndham, I just think the best in the world of you Ashley. And I can call you Ashley, you can call me Lauren now, we're colleagues. And it's really wonderful to have you on the bench, and I will hope you get to criminal if that's where you want to be, and you'll get there. So congratulations, it's really wonderful.
The one thing I wanted to say, Ashley, is that I had the privilege of actually working with you briefly when I was a public defender, and for the last, year and a half on ODR. And you're an incredible lawyer. I mean, really an incredible lawyer. And the thing that I will always remember about you when you're in court is when I would have some case where the probation report was god-awful, and he was on his fifth violation, and he's gone, or the defendant went AWOL time after time, and I would say, come on, and you'd say, that's true, Your Honor, but let me explain a few things you may not know. And every time you'd persuade me to put him back on. Every time. So she has incredible persuasive skills, and Dad, you must know that, right? Right? She's got incredible abilities to persuade. So I'm sure she was probably like that as an adolescent. I know she's like that now. She's done a great job, and it will be great to have you as a colleague. I think of you as a colleague now, and I'll definitely think of you as a colleague in the future. Anyways, congratulations on this special day.
Thank you so much.
I, Ashley Morgan Price,
I, Ashley Morgan Price,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend
that I will support and defend
the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California
the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
to the Constitution of the United States
to the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California,
and the Constitution of the State of California,
that I take this obligation freely
that I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation
without any mental reservation
or purpose of evasion,
or purpose of evasion.
and that I will well and faithfully discharge
I will well and faithfully discharge
the duties upon which I am about to enter.
the duties upon which I am about to enter.
Congratulations, Commissioner.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Let's sign it.
Thank you, Your Honor. Thank you for joining me on my special day. Today is a special day for me. One, because I'm turning 40 today, so I thought this would be the perfect day for me to be sworn in as a Los Angeles Superior Court Commissioner. Just briefly, I wanted to tell everybody kind of how this started. I was in Judge Bernstein's court, and I think I was doing a bench warrant pickup or something, and she turned to me and she said, "You know, you really should be on the bench." And so I turned around to see who she was talking to, but there was no one else there. And I kind of thought, well, that's a crazy idea. And I just went about my day. And then I came home and I told Brian about it. And he said, well, maybe it's something you should think about. And I, went back to work. And a couple weeks later, then Judge Veristigi called me to the bench. And I don't know if her and Judge Bernstein were in cahoots about this, but she also said, have you thought about applying for the bench? So I came home and I told Brian, I said, another judge, Judge Veristigi said I should apply for the bench. So the idea got a little bit of momentum in my head, but I still didn't really think too much about it. And then my mom flew in to visit, and she came to the courthouse because I wasn't done work yet. And she got together with Judge Bernstein. And Judge Bernstein told her, your daughter should really apply to the bench. So in a way, Judge Bernstein sort of handed the baton off to my mom. who then promptly followed up on a weekly, bi-weekly basis on what my progress was on the application and why I wasn't finished. So it was quite a team effort. And so I really appreciated that. And then, you know, when I was kind of working on the application, I came to Judge Wyndham. And when the assistant supervising judge of the Western District gets excited when you tell him, that's a pretty good feeling that maybe you should go ahead and apply. So I felt like I had a team of people that were rooting me on. And sometimes you don't see something in yourself, and it takes others to see that in you. So that was the push that I needed to go ahead and apply. So thank you for believing in me and giving me the confidence to apply. Judge Bernstein, when I was in your court for so many years, you always had such a caring heart, and you always listened to people, even those that were more long-winded. And you always tried to do the right thing, and I can only hope that I can preside in the same way. Thank you for everything. Judge Veristigi's not here with us in person, she's here with us in spirit, and I just wanted to say a few words to thank her for all of her mentoring and helping me along in the process. One thing that she does on the bench is that she greets every client at every court appearance, and I think that really helps them to feel valued in their own court proceeding. And I can only hope to preside in my courtroom with the same type of kind demeanor that she's always shown. Judge Wyndham, I was so fortunate to do a couple trials in front of you, and then we started the ODR court, of course, together. And I always felt like if there was some issue that I needed help with or some problem, I know that I could come to you for your help and your guidance. And when you were on the bench, especially with our clients that were severely mentally ill, you were so kind and caring to them. And I hope that I can take that with me and use that in my courtroom as well. Judge Sadler, thank you so much for all of your guidance and support over the last year. When I had questions, I came to you, and you did everything you could to help, and I appreciate it so much. There's several other bench officers that I just wanted to thank briefly because they were so kind and helpful to me during this process. Judge Garcia, Justice Edgerton, Judge Abzug, Judge Bosley, Judge Dabney, Judge Cohen-Laurie, Judge Barnett, Judge Doherty, Judge Nellen, Judge Honeycutt, Judge Curlin, Commissioner Strassner, and Commissioner Kitahara. Thank you all for your help and support during this process. To my public defender family, this has been a dream job for me. Many times you brought me lunch when I was in trial. You cheered me on for my victories. You comforted me when I was sad or defeated. And I just can't tell you how proud I am to have been a public defender and serve with you. Our whole office too, not just the lawyers, the investigators, the paralegals, the social workers, the LOSAs, everyone welcomed me. I mean, I had 2 baby showers in our office. People covered for me when I was on maternity leave, and I truly loved this job, and I feel so lucky to have served as a public defender. Similarly, thank you to my friends in the DA's office, court clerks, bailiffs, court reporters, support staff, everyone that's been in my career so kind and helpful for me when I needed something or had a question. Thank you to my family in Delaware, Pennsylvania, Florida, and Oregon. To my Amish friends and family, hello. Thank you for all your love and support. My sister's here with us today. She is the most thoughtful and kind person. She's been such a wonderful role model. As my older sister, I always made her go first. And if she got in trouble, then I knew not to do it. So thank you for going first and being such a wonderful role model for me. I know that you would drop everything to help me, as you've done many times. So thank you for all your love and support. Mom, thank you for creating a house that had no negativity, and we didn't know any limit to what we could achieve. That's so important, that foundation that you instilled in me. Thank you for loving and supporting me every step of the way, including tag teaming with Judge Bernstein to finally get me to apply. Dad, thank you for your unwavering support in me. You would give anything to help me succeed. You worked hard, never called in sick, and you were the perfect father that a girl could ever dream of. Thank you. I love you. And just so everyone knows just what an amazing person he is, when we kind of got the news that I was going to be seated as a commissioner at some point, he did the most amazing thing. He hand carved this box for me using some wood that he chopped down himself in his childhood home back in the forest where he grew up. And inside he hand carved my first gavel so that I can have this treasure with me every day on the bench, so that I can think of all the love and support that you've given me, Dad. I love you. Thank you very much. And to Brian, my husband, my biggest cheerleader, I wouldn't be here without your love and support. And just so everyone knows what I mean, we got our first trip away from the kids to Bora Bora, on frequent flyer points, of course. And I was relaxing, reading a book, and Brian was at a makeshift desk editing my application. And that's the level of support that he gave me every day, day in and day out. He's a true partner in every sense of the word. I would not have applied if it wasn't for his constant encouragement. So I love you, honey. Thank you so much. And to Delaney and George, my two angels, the best kids anyone could ever ask for. Thank you so much for loving Mommy and being the best kids. I love you very much. Thank you, everyone.